I never went to school in interior design. I always ask God, I'm like,
hey, powerhouses, welcome back to another episode of the She Speaks podcast. And I am so excited to introduce to you another Lexingtonian woman. So today I have Porscha Coney with us. Porscha, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your business?
You would have been given credit to your diploma, to your degree, to all your studies, and not saying, I'm the one who gave you this gift, and if you would have went to school for interior design, my name would have never been brought up.
I feel like if you pay taxes here,
I don't care wherever I'm at. I can be done to children. Talking to older people. I'm always going like this gift has, like God has given me this gift, and it's all from on social media. A little bit about myself. I am a wife. I will be married for 11 years this year. My husband and I will be celebrating 11 years in November. And I'm also a mother to 2 children, London Victoria. She just turned 10, going on 25. And Braxton Alexander, he just turned 7 as well. And that is my little heartbeat. So not only am I a wife and a mother, but I also am a owner of Coney Designs, which is a interior design firm. So we are based here in Lexington, Kentucky, but we travel all throughout the world. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so global business.
Yeah,
I love it.
Listen, I love it. And you can pay for us to travel. We will come to you and design whatever you need to be designed.
Nice. Okay, so what's the furthest you've gone so far for one of your clients?
Okay, so here's the thing. I actually recently just finished a project in Spain. So, and I did it all virtual.
Wow.
Yes.
Nice.
So that is the furthest that our company has designed. Yes. So.
I love that. That's creative too. Yeah. That is very creative. Okay, so we want to know the backstory. So tell us about, did you go to college? Where did you grow up? Because you said you've only been in Lexington for 5 years. So where did you start? And then how did that kind of play a role into you going into this entrepreneur route?
It's so crazy how God literally brought interior design or gave me that purpose. I am originally from Columbus, Ohio, grew up there, raised, and then I went to school at the University of Cincinnati. And I went to school for family studies.
Wow.
Exactly. Like I'm supposed to be doing social work right now. Not, picking out sofas and, window treatments or whatnot. But I went to school for social work, or not for social work, but for family studies. And when I graduated from college, I met my husband. We got married. I had our daughter, and I became a stay-at-home mom. Okay. And at that time, I just really fell in love with broken items. I am a thrifter, so and I love fixing up things. So I will go into thrift stores because as a stay-at-home mom, yes, you're busy, you're doing this, you're doing that, but you also have time where you can kind of make up your own schedule. So one of the things that I love doing was to go thrift. So I would go and I would see broken dressers or broken chairs or broken desk, and I would call my husband. Hey, I found this desk for $5. He's like, okay, I'm on my way. So he would come, pick it up, we'll take it home. I'll sand it, I will prime it, I'll paint it. And then I created one piece for myself where I made a desk into a vanity and I posted it online. It's like, oh, look what I did for myself. And it blew up. Literally, people were like, can you make me one? Can you make me that?
Oh my gosh.
So before I was Coney Designs, the company was called Unforsaken Pieces. So we actually, sold refurbished furniture.
Wow.
So this is how it's literally I'm telling you how God does things. So I was doing refurbished furnishing, but I really got into the staging of the furnishing. So when you post, your items online, you have to stage it. You have to make it look nice, So I really love staging it and adding a mirror or, floral accents or a nice chair, and really got into designing. My husband, he is a visionary, so we never moved into perfect homes. They always needed fixing up. So, I would, fix things up in our home, and I would stage these, our desk or dressers or whatever that may be at that time. And someone reached out to me, they were like, can you design my loft downtown Cincinnati? And I was like, well, what do you mean? You want me to design something? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, I'm not an interior designer. And she said, no, I seen your work. I seen your home. You post pictures. I want you to come and design my house.
Wow.
Or design my loft downtown in Cincinnati. So I went and did interior design for someone downtown Cincinnati. And I flipped their loft it was dark. It wasn't nice, and literally just transformed it in 72 hours. And I was like, this is it. This is
wow.
what I'm supposed to be doing. I fell in love with it.
So 3 days.
3 days.
And you got up knowing all about your purpose. Oh my God.
Literally 3 days. And the thing is, so I don't have a degree. As you can see, my degree is in family studies. I don't have a degree in interior design. I never went to school in interior design. And I always ask God, I'm like, did I waste my time, getting a degree in family studies? Or I ask him, why didn't you tell me that this is going to be my purpose? Because I would have went to school for it. And he said, well, if you would have went to school for interior design, then there would be no way for me to get the glory out of it. You know what I mean? Because you would have been given credit to your diploma, to your degree, to all your studies, and not saying, I'm the one who gave you this gift, And if you would have went to school for interior design, my name would have never been brought up,
Wow.
I don't care wherever I'm at. I can be talking to children. I can be talking to older people. I'm always going to this gift God has given me this gift, and it's all from him. Everything.
I love that. That took me out right there. Okay. Well, honestly, that's what it's about, right? That's what we're all striving for, but somehow or another, we do attribute our blessings to the wrong things. Oh, I found a job in my field, but we don't say God gave me the ability to find the job in my field.
Absolutely.
Here we are. Yeah.
Absolutely. And God knew, and he was like, no, I'm going to get the glory out of this,
Yeah.
Because of that, you're not going to go to school for this. I'm going to give you this gift. I'm going to give you this purpose. I'm going to give you the ability to design and turn a space from, something that's not nice to a sanctuary, or, you know what I mean? Completely flip it. And like I said, all this goes to God. Everything.
So tell us about what it was like for you, during that journey. How did you keep yourself grounded? Because I would imagine once you set your mind to something and you believe that about yourself, and then you start changing, that's a moment of travail, right? So how did you stay true to yourself, or what kind of process did you use to kind of stay grounded while all those things were changing?
It was a little difficult because, you go from getting a degree in family studies, then you go from being a stay-at-home wife, then you go from refurbishing furniture. Now you're an interior designer. And so literally, I started second guessing myself. I'm like, okay, I'm switching this, I'm doing that. God, what am I supposed to be doing? You know what I mean?
Exactly. I know it.
God, what am I supposed to be doing? And literally, this is so cliche, but literally it's everything that we go through. They're all just blocks and stepping paths to what we need to be at, Yeah. And if I didn't, when it comes to interior design, if I didn't do refurbished furniture, I would never fell in love with interior design. You know what I mean? If I wasn't a stay-at-home wife where I had time to go out thrifting, then I would never been able to refurbish furniture to be able to become an interior designer. So all of that just, it just plays itself, just all plays out well. And, I always go back to the scripture where God says, my thoughts are not like yours.
That's
my
right.
ways are not like yours, and we're thinking this particular way. We have our thoughts set on this particular outcome, and God is like, no, I'm up here.
Oh,
down here,
Yeah.
So
I'm going to reiterate what you just said for our listeners, just in case if you're kind of on this path of your polish process, right? Sometimes you do have to look back at your own receipts to see if it wasn't for this, then this wouldn't have happened. And because this happened, this is why I'm here. Yep. So the same way Porscha just outlined how all of the steps were ordered for her, regardless of how you feel, if you go back and check your steps and your receipts for your process, you'll find out that you're actually on your way. So be like Porscha, stick to it.
And listen, and even if it is not even added up like that, as long as you're on the path that God has you on, that's all that matters. Literally, that's all that matters. So like you said, yes, the receipts, they do add up. But if they don't add up and you're the will of God, listen, that is enough right there.
Yes. Okay, Porscha. So you've already talked to us a little bit about your faith, and we're going to circle back to that in a minute, but I want to hear a little bit about your polish process, because this season we're all about trying to understand what our individual polish processes look like. Mm-hmm. But tell us about what it's been like for you, setting goals for yourself as an individual and for your business, and how you've tweaked that over time.
Yeah. So when you get into business, you're super excited, you have all this fire up under you, you're like, let's go, let's do this, we got this. And then reality sets in. And it's like, okay, I don't have no clients coming in. Okay, I didn't get that work, or taxes are coming up and I have no clue where to start. Things just like that, and, the pandemic, when it hit, it was definitely a tragedy, and it was hard. I mean, just blunt, it was hard. Mm-hmm. But one of the good things that came out of the pandemic was it allowed me, or actually God would say, hey, like, you got to stop, like you need to check your books, get in line, you need to start getting some folders together. And then, so the pandemic really allowed me to get my business in order, because we're, as entrepreneurs and, creative people, we love the, what I want to say, we love the work of it. We love the outcome of it. We love the creativity of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the business side of things is where, well, I'm going to speak for myself.
Yeah, no.
I can't speak for nobody else. But, when it comes to designing, when it comes to looking at fabrics and, picking out this and, checking out the scale of that, I'm there. Let's do it. But now you want me to sit down and you want me to, write down the numbers and, say the receipts and get contracts together. That stuff is where I struggle about. Again, I'm talking about myself, Mm-hmm. So this is my third year being in business, and God literally said during the pandemic, listen, you have to get your business in order, Yeah. So that really, that was a main thing for me this year, is just sitting down, getting things in order, getting, going old school, getting an Excel sheet out, writing things out, getting, on the folders and, your cabinets and, writing down your receipts and, just getting everything in order, because God doesn't bless mess. And I want him to be able to continue to bless my company. And because of that, I want to be in order. I want to make sure that everything is set and in line. So that was a big polish moment for me. For me to be able to be a true firm that I'm calling myself to be, mm-hmm. then I want to make sure that we're acting like a true firm,
Yeah. So what has been the biggest highlight for you since you've kind of reestablished yourself in your business goals?
I would definitely say being able to slow down, but seeing what process works and mm-hmm. what process does not work. You know, what things was I doing just to be doing? And, you know, like where are some holes that could be filled? You know, what are some ways that, you know, that could help my clients out or my contractors out? You know, how could I become a better business owner, a better designer? You know, so things like that really helps.
So give us an example of something that you stopped doing or just ate up a lot of time that you thought was super important that really you found out later on wasn't that important.
What did I do? Well, okay. So I want to answer your question, but I kind of want to switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
So one of the things that I found myself doing that was wasting my time and my clients' time was I was scared to talk about money.
Oh.
Okay. Because it takes money to design. Interior design is a luxury thing to have, you know. So one of the things that I was wasting my time and my clients' time was I was not talking about money. You know, I would get to their home, we would do a consultation, we would talk about all these beautiful things like, oh yeah, I can't wait, and yes, this is going to be awesome, let's do it. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, this is going to cost $8,000. You know what I mean? But in their mind, because they never hired an interior designer, they're probably thinking $2,000. You know, but I would get all the way home and come up, you know, start creating renderings and floor plans and calling contractors and creating a presentation, then get to the presentation, present to them, and then at the end of the presentation, I'm like, yeah, this is going to cost $8,000. And they're like, whoa, wait, hold on. I only got 2. You know?
Ooh.
So that was one of the things like where I found out like I was wasting my time and my clients' time without like, you know, I found out that I needed to start talking about money at our initial contact, you know, at our initial consultation. Hey, what is your budget? This is reality. Okay, you have $2,000. Well, let me tell you what we can do with $2,000, and maybe we can do steps, or maybe we can tone down some things, or maybe, hey, e-design would be best for you, where I give you my plans, and then you go run out and you go do what you need to do to try to mimic that, you know. So that was one of the things where I sat down and literally found out that, hey, I'm wasting my time and my clients' time without talking about money. And that's, you know, when it comes to entrepreneurship, we're a little scared to talk about money when it comes to clients, you know. We had to get over that. But, you know, that was one of the things that really that I had to get over this year.
That's good. That's really good. But, you know, and I think a lot of that kind of comes into play because a lot of us weren't raised around like open dialogue with finances. But then those of us who were, like, they don't know how to manage their relationship with people who don't know how to talk about money. So it's this weird, like, I can't talk if you can't talk. Well, we need to talk, but what do I say?
You know what? It kind of goes back to, I mean, so, you know, when we were growing up, like I always would hear my dad say, never tell anyone how much you make. Don't tell anyone how much you make, you know? And so as we're getting older, now I think that I'm seeing a switch where people are saying, hey, I see that you're applying for this job. Well, I work in the same field and this is what I'm getting. You know what I mean? Like, and so now we're talking about money a little bit more. We're
absolutely
putting on a table, you know. So I am loving the new direction because, like I said, my dad always, one thing you don't tell is who you voting for and how much you make. You know, those are things my dad told me. Like, and so now, you know, as we're growing up, like people are now saying, like, hey, this is how much I make. Like, no, you need to know your worth. No, you need to be charging this. You know, like, so I think that also helps with talking about, you know, finances and, you know, how much you should be making and charging.
I agree. And I love this change. There's different groups to the audience. There's different groups. There's different Instagram pages that can give you information about finances. There's a group here in Lexington where we literally share information about different employers, different job opportunities, because we want to make sure that anybody that's connected to that group has the true information so they can family plan. They can, and when I say family, I don't mean one plus anybody else. It's you are your family, plus whatever additional members you have that you are being responsible for, because you can't plan ahead if you don't know what's right in front of you. So tap into all those resources, y'all, because it's important. Okay, so Porscha, you mentioned God quite a few times. Okay, and I love to hear it. But tell us the real truth, okay? How has your faith grown since you've decided to become an entrepreneur? Or have you always just been super deep in your faith since you were like a kid?
I don't want to say I was super deep, but I was raised in church. So my dad is a pastor. So I was a PK, preacher's kid. I promise we're not that bad, guys. I promise we're not. But, I was raised in church. But I did go to college and kind of, showed out, but got back on track. Okay.
Amen. I've been there.
Listen. But so was raised in church. And then when I met my husband, soon after we got married, we actually started a church. So we pastored for a little over 4 years in Cincinnati, Ohio. And then God had called us to close it and move to Lexington, Kentucky. So I don't want to say, if I sat here and say that my relationship with God was always peachy and bubblegum and raindrops, and I would be lying. There have been moments, even to this day, where I don't want to say I question him, but I get a little upset at him, If I could just be real and just, say like, why is this happening? We had spoken about this earlier, but, you told me to, leave my job. You told me to become this entrepreneurship. You told me to start this interior design firm. And there'll be moments where there'll be no clients coming in, I'm not designing anything. So as a result, there's no money coming into the household. And not saying that money is everything, but money does make the world go round and round. And I have a family.
And that's your world that needs to go round.
That's my world, So when things are not going as I would like for them to go, I start to kind of look up at God like, okay, now listen. And this is how him and I talk, like I'm not one of those, oh, how Holy Father, I just want to come to you and ask you a question. I'm like, no, sir. Listen, you said, and then we said, and then I said, okay. And now we're here. Like what, literally like that's my conversation with God. If I sat here and said that, my relationship with Christ was always solid, I would be lying. There has definitely been moments, especially during entrepreneurship, because it's hard. There are some difficult moments throughout this journey, and I would be lying if I did not say that. I didn't have if things were shaky between him and I.
Listen, I'm walking that walk right now. So, has there been a person, a book, or is it something between you and your husband? Like, what's helped you kind of regain your stability when it has gotten shaky?
I would have to say is, my husband is there. Definitely. He always reiterates, God has us, but then it's also God who, because even though I may be upset at him today, I'm still talking to him. He's still talking to me, and he's always telling me, I have you. Don't worry. You know what I mean? We got this. I got this, So it's been, especially when the pandemic hit, literally, again, I'm an interior designer. So we go into people's houses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we had to go inside these spaces, and now the whole world is shut down. Right. and we can't go nowhere, because I want to stay safe. They want to stay safe. And I'm like, okay, God, how is this going to work? Like what am I going to do now? And literally I had to get up every morning and just, read scripture and pray to him. like I literally, like I had to kind of like, I had to retrain my mind, if that makes any sense. Literally, I had to train my mind to stay focused on him. And that is what has helped me to get through any and all challenging moments throughout entrepreneurship.
So would you say that that's been your personal polish process, or what would you say so far has been like your polishing process to get to the Porscha that we're hearing on this podcast today?
I would say, those struggle moments, like you can't get anywhere, and I don't want to say like you have to struggle to get to a particular place, but those struggle moments make you who you are right now. They make you a better person. If I didn't have the moments that I've had, I would have never been able to maneuver like I maneuver. You know what I mean? I would never be able to think the way that I think, So those polished moments definitely came from those struggles, and then leaning back on God, and making sure, I stay on his side, you know what I mean? Stay inside of his boat,
Listen.
When I got outside of his boat, that's when I started to like question things and started to wander and worry. But when I retrained my mind and God, on his side, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm safe now,
Yeah.
Okay, I know you got me. So those were definitely those polishing moments there.
I love it. Porscha, you just nailing it on the head. Y'all,
yes.
This is real life right here. Okay. So we're going to transition into the hot fire round. Okay. So when I ask you these questions, give us your answers straight off the dome. Don't try to overthink it. If it's been more than 10 seconds, I'll be like, go to the next one.
Okay. I'm nervous.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Routine you live by.
My routine that I live by, I get up. Unfortunately, I do check my phone. I check my phone. I go up and I straighten up my office and in my living room. Those are two of the most spaces that I live in. Like it's my office and my living room. And I cannot work in a messy area. So I always, if it's just fluffing the pillows, straighten up chairs, that is my routine. That is, as soon as I get up, I check my phone, and then I go and straighten up some of the areas that I'll be working in.
Love it. Okay. Top 3 negotiables you keep in your life. Non-negotiables, rather.
Non-negotiables. Okay. My phone. Oh my goodness. Am I an addict? Oh, my phone, non-negotiable, my husband. And I don't want to say like cliche, but God, of course. But let's just throw a fun one out there, okay?
Okay.
We like super spiritual. But
I mean, I was here for it. Like some people be like, Lord, it's whenever.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Non-negotiable, God, my phone, and my husband. Those are 3 things that, let's go.
That's good. Take notes, y'all. It's top 3. Phone, because money comes to the phone. Email, boom.
Yeah,
I'm with it. Okay, name someone you look up to.
I look up to my father. I am the ultimate daddy's girl. My father raised my sister and I, so he was a single parent dad. And I look up to him. So I love the way that he loves God. I love the way that he loves his children. And my stepmom, I love the way that he does life. So I look up to my dad.
Awesome. That's beautiful. So random question. What are you getting him for Father's Day?
Oh, he is one of those fathers who's like, well, now that we got like kind of good paying jobs, he do be like, okay, you could just send me some money. Like send me like, it was like, I need some socks, or hey, I seen this thing at Costco's. Can you get me that, that little grill skillet or something? But now he's like, you could just send me some cash.
Okay. All right, Dad. Well, Porscha, thank you so much for joining us on the She Speaks podcast. This has been phenomenal. How can we follow you? How can we engage with you?
Yes. Okay. So I am all over. Of course, you can follow my interior design firm at plconeydesigns.com. Well, that's my website, but I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at Coney Designs. I'm also an influencer and a blogger. That's where all the fun be happening at. So if you want to see my kids, my husband looking at me sideways because I like to go hiking, and he's like, I don't do this. That's the place where you need to follow me at as well. And that's at Porscha Lynette.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to link all of those things in the show notes in case if you miss any of those things. But once again, Porscha, we want to say thank you. We wish your business ultimate success as we finish out 2021. And y'all know the drill. Thanks for tuning into the She Speaks podcast.